Welcome back to What Ifs and Maybes, a podcast about the what ifs of our lives and the maybes of our hearts. This is your host, Mance.
And pow! And we're here today with another prompt.
Mm-hmm.
So, Mads, what if you don't know if it's love? What is love? What's love for you?
Wow, that's another hard question for today. Like love in general for someone specific.
Anything.
Like, what is love? Nina has been waiting for that twice reference since weeks ago.
Is it like in the movies? I don't even remember the lyrics of that. Is it like in the movies or in
Mm-hmm.
the novel? I don't remember.
But that's how you learn it first, right? It's either from family members or people you live with, or from movies or literary references. So
Yeah.
for me, I think it's hard to stick with a specific definition. When someone asks me what that is, I still remember that scrapbook answer. Love is a bunch of, but what is love? There are different quotes, right? I was going to say
Yeah.
a box of chocolates, but I think that was supposed to be about life. And then
Yeah.
people my age would start using that regarding love as well. But what about you, Pao? I don't have a specific answer. I think it's just something that makes you want to treat other people better than what you treat yourself, which is kind of a toxic definition as well. But what about you?
Yeah, I don't know if it's the same as what other people might think, but love is a decision for me.
A decision.
It's like, yeah, it's like deciding if I would keep on loving you or something like that.
So it's a choice.
It's, yeah, some people might say that it's a feeling. Well, it might start with a feeling, but I think that it's also a choice. Like, I'll choose to love you and for eternity, and like I'll choose to take
Mm.
care of you or something. I think that's how I view love.
But I get what you mean. I think you're saying like especially love between marriages, like they choose to see or to stay.
Yeah, but not just in marriage, but also when it's about loving yourself. Like, I'll choose to love this part of my body too. Oh, I hate this part. It's like
Mm.
accepting all
So
the fault.
Nina's
Mm?
asking, does that mean you don't get it passively? What about the people who say they fell into it, not really choosing it? What about with regards to others? Do you choose the people you love?
Well, I think so. That's just like
Mm-mm.
in my mind.
Because you said that it's a choice, because it's a very curious like debate then, because you say it's a
Mm-mm.
choice, but then other people, like the majority of the people, would say that they didn't choose who they love.
Well, for me, it's another word. It's attraction.
Mm.
So you're attracted to another person. That's what I think. I'm not really sure if it's correct, but yeah, I think love isn't just passive. I think it should be active.
So it's like more of a decisive decision. Like, oh, I will love you. Then you love that person immediately after deciding. Because I think that's what is being conveyed right now. You said that you choose, right? You choose the people you love. And so it
Hmm.
becomes a really active decision of sort. So Nina's asking what the criteria that leads you to that decision.
What's the criteria
Yeah.
that leads me
Mm-hmm.
to love that person?
Yeah, for you to decide that, oh, you love that person, because from what you're saying, what I'm understanding is that you see a person and then you say, oh, I will love that person.
Yeah.
So what's the
My
criteria?
I think that if I can imagine my life with them until I'm old, I think that's my criteria for love.
But even with
Mm-hmm.
companions, with friends,
Mm-hmm.
even if
Yeah.
it's not a person, what makes you say that you love a certain thing, like a book or a song? What's the criteria for that?
I think it's more of if I can repeat. It's like if I can listen to a song and repeat. If I can be with that person every day and every single, well, if I can live with them every single day, or maybe not every single day. That's just too much. But like if I can tolerate being with them and seeing them
Mm-mm.
and
So,
talking to them
mm-mm. So,
like that. I think that's
tolerating someone.
I think that's how love is.
Then does tolerance equate to love? Nina is asking.
I think it's one part. That's a criteria. That's a criteria, but it's also
But
tolerance does not equate to love, but it's a criteria. Since we're asking for criteria, it's also accepting and loyalty. Well, it's not just for another person, but also for the thing, if it's like a want to see, hear, and be with. So that's why I think it's a decision. If I want and tolerate and accept.
So it's a desire of some sort.
Yeah, not just a desire, also thinking that it would make me a better person. Because sometimes desires are bad. I don't really desire something that's bad, but there are some people who might think doing something that they shouldn't do, but something that wouldn't break any laws.
For example,
Something like that.
Like, can you give an example of that one?
Well, for example, if they love doing drugs.
Nina's asking, well, how did we suddenly go to drugs?
Because desire and love.
Okay.
How about you, Mad?
I'm still digesting the fact that you said that toleration equates to love.
No, I didn't say that. That's a criteria.
It's a criteria. So, yeah. So, your criteria is toleration, acceptance, and desire, and loyalty, a consistency for you to determine or to decide that you love someone or something, right?
Yeah.
But it kind of contradicts in my head because you said it's a decision, it's an active decision that you can decide the moment that you see or meet a person. But then consistency is something that happens gradually. So how do you decide something when one of your criteria is still not yet met? So do you 100% love that person, or it's just a matter of, oh, maybe I can see myself with this person, but just for the moment, more of a representation of not necessarily a desire, but more of an ideal kind of relationship based on what you see initially. Does that make sense?
Can you rephrase that?
So I'm just trying to say that it's hard. This prompt is hard.
Wait, so you're asking if it's the tolerance and the consistency?
You said it's part of your criteria, but you can't really determine one's fitness to that criteria when you just met the person. So
I don't really fall in love at first sight though. So
but you said that you decide. So when do you decide that you already love? I guess that's the main point I'm trying to make. If those are your criteria.
So when do you know, or when do
no.
I decide if, well, I don't know if you know this word. It's like alterious something. Alterious something. Alterious romance, alterious love. And it's like, huh?
Nina's asking if you're looking for the word altruistic.
No. It's alterious. Alterous.
What does it mean?
It's like the attraction is described as desire for emotional closeness. Doesn't necessarily mean that it's romantic or platonic. So it's like choosing if I want to be a friend. It's like in the between of a friend and a romantic partner. So that's the kind of love that I think I want. So it's like I need to decide, well, me and that partner needs to decide if we want to be together or not.
On your part, how do you know that you're ready for that commitment because you love that person given your criteria? Because what's happening is, given the scenario that you said, it becomes conditional that you'll only commit to that person if that person wants it. So that's them. So it relies heavily on them.
Not really. Well, it relies on both of us. If we can see each other in each other's future.
So it's more
because I don't really think that love is. I don't think that love is a feeling. It starts with attraction, but it ends in a decision, deciding to be together.
I do agree that it ends with a decision. It ends with a constant decision. But I think on my part, I don't quite agree that it's not a feeling. Because for me, it is a feeling. It's a gradual feeling that develops. That's my side. But we can, of course, we can disagree on that one.
Yeah, we do.
Comment down below on who you agree more. Just kidding. But
I think other people will think that it's more of a feeling.
Why are you against it being a feeling? Why are you against it being a feeling?
I'm not really against it. I just think that it's different.
Oh,
I
so okay, I'll rephrase. Why do you
mm.
not believe that it's not a feeling?
I just think that it's more the love, the feeling.
Mm-hmm.
It's more of attraction. You're attracted to another person. That's why I think it's not. Well, it might be a feeling for others, but it's not for me.
Okay, I can respect that. But how about to yourself? Nina's asking.
Mm.
What does loving yourself then mean?
Well, for me, it's like tolerating, deciding to love yourself. Because sometimes, if you can if I can tolerate how I look for the day, then it leads to like hating.
Can we have a definition of tolerate just so we're with the same definition? Tolerate. What does tolerate
Mm.
mean for you?
How about you first? What does tolerate mean for you?
Tolerate, well, the textbook, the dictionary definition of tolerate,
Mm.
it tolerate, allow the existence but does not
Mm.
necessarily agree. You just settle.
Mm.
So, still, I'm still digesting the fact that you said that
Mm.
loving something is settling.
Yeah, you don't agree with that fact that you're settling?
When you love something, yes,
Yeah.
I don't agree.
Okay.
But that's my opinion. Because for me, if you love something, you
Mm.
don't settle with a version that's not really it. For example, if you have a suitor or if someone likes
Mm.
you and well, he likes you and
Mm-mm.
he's good and he's smart, he's all of that, but you don't really
Mm-mm.
feel anything for it. And it seems to be a rational decision, but you don't feel anything. You're
Mm-hmm.
just settling. You're tolerating the presence of another person. And I don't think that's love. That's just a civil relationship
Okay.
for me.
Well,
Even with friends,
mm-hmm.
like you can settle and tolerate a friend, but that does not necessarily mean that you like that friend or you love that friend. It just means you're settling for companionship.
Well, for me, if you tolerate and settle for someone that isn't a friend, that's like an acquaintance. That's
Yeah.
why I don't
Hmm.
think that.
Because tolerating is different from
Mm.
accepting something
Mm.
and adjusting. Those are different definitions.
Mm. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Let me just be clear.
Mm-mm.
My criteria is I don't know if I said this correctly, but I said tolerate,
Mm-mm.
consistent, loyalty. I don't know if I said accepting, but I
Yeah, I did. You did.
I was thinking, yeah. But actually, I'm okay with like arranged marriage. I actually wanted my parents to arrange for them to arrange my marriage, but that didn't happen. So,
Why?
hmm?
I don't
I
think we
don't
ever
really.
talked about this. I only laugh
Hmm.
when you bring it up, but why?
Because I think that they can choose someone who's nice, and I think I can learn to love that person.
Oh, so for you, love can be learned.
Yeah.
Okay, we can respect each other's opinion on
Yeah.
feelings.
Okay, yeah. It's really different. I think my
Mm-mm.
thinking is really different from a lot
Mm-mm.
of people.
Well, for me, it's because I've tried.
Hmm?
Backstory, because I've tried like
Mm-mm.
learning to at least not necessarily settle,
Mm-mm.
but if you don't feel it, you don't. For me, I mean,
Mm-mm.
that's the realization that I got from trying lots of time.
Mm-mm.
It can be. You're right, Nina. I don't think that it can be taught. I think it can be modeled. I think people gradually learn it from other people's act. But yes, I don't think that you can force yourself to love something. Like even as an inner profession, we tolerate
Mm-mm.
it, but do you love it? I think that's what I'm trying to say.
Mm-mm.
Tolerating it and loving it are two different things. That's why most people would try to find other
Mm-mm.
passions because they want something to do that they love.
Okay. Yeah, okay. I understand what you said. If
Mm-mm.
you mean.
Mm-hmm.
I think if in our profession, if I think that if I didn't experience, is it trauma? I don't, well, it might be trauma, but I'll just say experience. If I didn't experience the experience that I've experienced, that's so many experience
Mm-hmm.
in one sentence. If I didn't experience the experience that I experienced, I think I would have learned to love our
Mm-hmm.
career. It's yeah, I think I would have learned because right now it's just too traumatizing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would have learned to love. I think I would have learned to love the career.
Okay, I get that. But Nina says does that mean you won't really love all of it?
But does that mean you won't really love all of it
Because it will come with a bad thing.
So you're asking if I won't.
Because everything will always have a bad thing, or even if you experience it before. Also, for example, hypothetically, you didn't experience the bad thing that you experienced before, but it will
Mm-mm.
always happen again, and it can always happen again.
Yeah, what? Yeah, that's why I don't really love it right now. And I don't think I'll ever learn to love it.
Okay. What is something that you have learned to love, if I may ask?
What I've learned to love?
Yeah. What is something that
Mm,
you have learned to love?
I
Mm-hmm.
learned to love, I'm gonna say it, dancing. Dancing, I hated dancing back then because I was a lazy girl. A lazy girl. I hated moving.
Mm-hmm.
And then like I think my mom made me try
Mm-hmm.
dancing lessons and then piano. Actually, I had a lot of lessons. I learned to love some of them. Piano, dancing. I have always loved singing, so that wasn't learned. That's the things I've learned to love. Even some shows. I didn't really like a lot of shows. Detective Conan. I didn't really like Detective Conan back then, but I learned to love that.
So there are just some things that you learn to love, and some things
Yeah.
that
How
you
about you?
already love.
You never learned to love anything?
Never, actually.
Really? Okay.
That's why it's such a new concept for me, which is very obvious
Mm.
at this point. I'm still comprehending that fact because for me, I'm the kind of person that when I see something, I already have a feeling that I will like that person, and then it will
Mm-hmm.
develop gradually to loving that person.
But when we first met, you were like, we won't get close.
Yeah, but I didn't learn to love you. I gradually
Oh,
met
so
up
you
with
already.
you.
What?
I just had an impression from you, but I didn't hate
Mm,
you. I didn't have
okay.
anything against you. So I didn't hate anything. I it just for me,
Mm.
I never had the opportunity to learn to love something. It's either I do or I don't, or it will have an event that I will suddenly do or that I will suddenly don't. Writing. Nina's asking, what about writing? Well, I never learned to love it. I just did it. Not something that I really love. It's just me. It's a part of me.
Mm.
So we mentioned this before in a previous podcast that that's why art for me is not just something that I isolate an activity. It's either something that's already part of me. That's why I never really thought about art that much. The same thing about the things I love. I don't think about them, feel it.
Mm-mm. So, what's your definition of loving yourself? So, does that mean that you just
Mhm.
feel it?
It's contradicting for me that when it comes to other people, I know that I love that person when I sacrifice something or when I put them above me. I know that I start to love myself when I take care of myself, when I start to put myself more and not sacrifice for others. So it's kind of that seesaw effect, the moment.
So, you know you love someone when you put them first, and then you love yourself when you put
Mm-hmm.
yourself first before.
Mm-hmm.
Then, where's the balance?
That's right. There is no balance. That's why I have the schedule. I always disregard myself. Nina is asking, then
Um,
what if you disregard others? I normally don't, quite honestly. Most of the time I don't. It's either they're part of my life or I don't really think of them that much. So maybe that opposite of love, not thinking about other people. But I've always
mm,
that way. It's either you're important or I don't really think that much about another person.
mm.
Seldom do I hate. I don't really. It's very seldom that I do.
I also seldom hate things. I always complain about things,
Yeah, I
but
complain.
not.
Mm-mm. I rant a lot.
So, is hate a feeling too for you?
Yes,
Or.
I also think it's no, I don't think love is the opposite of hate. I think the opposite of love is a lack of feeling. Hate is an intense emotion that may come from annoyance or disappointment for me.
Okay. I don't think I ever hated anything. I just maybe that's why because my definition of love is something a decision. That's why maybe hate
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
too is a decision for me. That's why I don't
Mm-hmm.
like hating on something. So
Mm,
maybe that's why.
I get that. Maybe that's why we have different reactions reactions to people and stuff, right?
Yeah, maybe that's why. Maybe that's why I also don't have much of an impression of other people when I see them. It's
Mm.
just like, okay, whatever.
Oh, and
That's
maybe
why
that's
maybe I
why.
don't really remember
Mm.
how I first met anyone.
Oh, and maybe that's why I remember a lot of first impressions. Yeah, I
Yeah,
do.
maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe that's why. Because our definition of love is like that.
Like what? So you asked me like how do I
Mm.
know or what do I do to determine if I really love myself? And I
Mm-hmm.
answered that I know if I put effort on taking care of myself. But what about you? What's your definition or how do you know or how do you define what does loving yourself really mean?
I actually think loving yourself can be learned. For example, I don't know if there people do this, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's a correct example. But when I look in the mirror, even if I hate myself on that day,
Mm-hmm.
then I should choose three things that I love about my body. That's how I do it.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I mentally say that I love myself. It's like I'm conditioning myself.
Mm-hmm. You're affirming yourself.
Yeah, something like that.
But that's actually a
Like,
good way, right? That's a good way to do it.
mm,
I agree with
well,
that. That's the strange thing.
mm.
I do agree that you learn to love yourself, but you can't learn to love other people. So I don't understand myself at this point. I'll reflect more. But since it's very subjective, when is it not love? Because we just defined what love is for us. So how do you
Mhm.
know if it's not? Because I think that's what most people have trouble with.
Yeah,
Knowing if they really love someone. So forth. Yeah.
I think you know if it's not love.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be so weird. But when well some people just don't do this, but you need to reflect and I need to reflect and think, is it really love or am I just obsessed? Or
Mm,
like something like that.
like
I
an idea.
always
Like, is it
yeah.
an idea of what love is? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like something like that. So I think that when you reflect and then you think that it's not love anymore, but another thing, that's when it's not love.
I get that. But what are the factors, or like, how do you
Mm.
characterize that it's not love? So, do you have like specific, like green and red flags that makes you doubt, oh, this is not love because I've been doing this one, or this not love because I see this happening to us, like that? Or do you
Yeah.
automatically not? What do
I
you mean?
actually think I have never been in a relationship before, so I don't know if this is correct. But
It's the ultimate disclaimer. Ah.
so like the second I think that it's time to break up. Am I right? That's the answer to the question,
Mhm.
or am I like
I think you're
going
answering if
away?
it's no longer love. But go on
Yeah.
first.
The second I think that it's time to stop or it's time to break up, that's when I think it's not love anymore.
So you don't tolerate it. I just wanted to
Yeah,
make a joke.
I don't tolerate it anymore.
I get that. That it's not love if you cannot will yourself to tolerating something anymore. Like,
Yeah.
I get that.
How about you, Mads? When is it not love anymore?
Like it really comes back to if I do not feel it, I really don't feel it because I
Mm-mm.
well if Pao has never been in a relationship, I never committed to being in one, so
Oh.
whenever
So how you have?
I've never committed in a label.
Mm-mm.
Like I think I've been in a relationship with quote marks that never had labels. I think
Mm.
let's put it with I think. I hope my parents never never hear
Yeah,
this,
I think
but
I
um
hope our parents don't listen to the podcast.
or
Well,
it
not just this, but even the other one, the death one.
but not love. I don't know. I've just been very sure that I no
Mm-mm.
longer love something, but it's another conversation when you say you've loved someone and you realize that you love that someone and then you don't know when to really put the tag that it's no longer love. Like how do you know that you stopped loving someone? That's what I had a real difficult time with because I remember just years passing by and being confused if I still love or am I just remembering the feeling of loving that person. So I
Mm-mm.
think that the really hard part to distinguish. But determining if it's love or not love, I think that more of a feeling for me that, oh, I can't really invest myself as much to this person that I do with the people I love, regardless of romantic affiliation. So that the answer for me, quite honestly.
Okay. Now that I think about it, I think
You think?
the like is the feeling that I was thinking of.
In the beginning, when you were defining what love is, that it?
More of like the attraction. The
Ah,
attraction was more of like, do I like it?
I get that. Okay.
Maybe that's what I was thinking of.
I've
So,
realized after
mm,
a couple of years that I only really like something or someone because
mm,
of what I feel when I am with that person or when I am in that activity.
mm.
Because I always thought that it may be, oh, maybe physical attributes, maybe it's because they all have the same letter in their names, like even those kind of things. We won't say
Okay.
the letter.
Yeah, I do. I understand. I think it's more of like maybe before
Mm-hmm.
in my experiences of liking someone, I always tell myself that I don't like them to the
Mm-mm.
point that I don't really like them. It's like hypnotizing myself. I think that's
Mm.
if, maybe not hypnotizing, but like
Convincing.
yeah, convincing myself that I don't like them. That's why I think that love can be learned and is a
Mm.
decision.
That's because you already teach yourself not to love someone the moment you see them. Maybe that's why. I don't know.
I never really believed in love at first sight.
Mm-hmm. I.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind.
Mm.
Maybe that's a story for another time. But Nina's already playing and dancing to What is Love by Twice. I don't know. Love is very vague, but I just know that
Yeah.
if it happens, I'll probably know. I think
Yeah. And
I'll
it's
know now someday because it took me a really long
oh.
time to know that I
Mm-hmm.
was in that feeling of love when I only knew when it was already over. So
Mm-mm.
that was really sad.
Oh. Maybe that's why.
Yeah, I'm also very distracted about with this Twice video. So I'm just singing the lyrics. So Nina, it's your fault.
Mm.
I'll quote a Twice line. Do you think love will happen to you someday? Do you think that you will love someone someday the way that you're defined it today?
I think so, yeah. I think I can learn to love somebody.
Mm-hmm. I think everyone will experience or have experienced and will continue to experience love in various forms. Maybe we'll learn it.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll fall into it. We'll never know. We'll update you guys. So we'll see you again
Yeah.
next Friday for more updates and more episodes. Hoping that your regrets be small and wishes stay strong. This is Matt
And pow.
and Nina saying goodbye. See you next Friday. Bye. Bye, Nina.
Bye.